What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the ZayMoolaSportsPodcast. I'm your host, Zay, and it is time for me to begin my 2025 NBA Draft Scouting Report series. And today we have Baylor Guard VJ Edgecombe. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. All right, y'all, let's start with his measurables. He's 6'4", 193 pounds. You look at his 2024 stats, he averaged 15 points, 5.6 rebounds, 3.2 assists, and 2.1 steals per game, while shooting 43.6% from the floor, 34% from three, and 78.2% from the free throw line. So this was a well-rounded stat line from him, which you love to see. And now, y'all, let's get to his strengths. I think his first strength is that he has elite athleticism / explosiveness. He is one of the best athletes in this draft class. This past season at Baylor, he had 33 dunks, which was very impressive considering that, again, y'all, he's only 6'4", so he's definitely not one of the tallest guys out there, not one of the biggest guys out there, but he makes up for his lack of size with elite athleticism. And then at the combine, he really showed off the type of athlete that he is, because he had a max vertical of 38.5 inches, and y'all, that is absolutely insane. Again, this guy is only 6'4", so the fact that he can jump that high just goes to show you the type of athlete that he is, man. He is truly a super athlete. That's why I like to call VJ Edgecombe, man. He is a super athlete. And then not only does he have elite athleticism, y'all, but he is very explosive, especially when it comes to finishing around the rim. I mean, this guy has some very impressive dunks this past season at Baylor, man. It wasn't just, two-hand dunks or, your basic one-hand dunks. No, he had some tomahawk dunks. He had some windmill dunks in transition, y'all. He posterized some dudes. I mean, I think he's going to step foot into the NBA and be one of the most athletic, one of the most explosive players in the league as a rookie. And that's very rare to say, y'all, because most of the times, when a guy first enters the league as a rookie, it takes him some time to get used to the speed of the game, to get used to the athleticism that the players now have on the professional level. But I don't think VJ Edgecombe is going to struggle that much, y'all, because he's an insane athlete and he has a lot of explosiveness in his game, which is what I love to see. Kind of reminds me of D-Wade when it comes to his explosiveness. You look at his next strength, y'all, he is an incredible on-ball defender / playmaker. I think VJ Edgecombe is the best on-ball defender in this draft class because, y'all, he absolutely suffocates guys on the perimeter. I mean, it is very hard to dribble against this guy, man, because he uses his length, his athleticism, and his foot quickness very well. I just told y'all that he's an elite athlete, man, and he uses his athleticism to really hound guys on the perimeter, y'all. But not only is he a lockdown defender, because I think he's going to be kind of similar to like a Tony Allen in terms of just being that prototypical lockdown defender, a guy that you could put on your best player and he is going to shut him down, y'all. But not only that, he is a great defensive playmaker, and that is something that you cannot say about a lot of players, because a lot of players, they're good defenders, they can lock you up, y'all, but they cannot make plays, man. VJ Edgecombe is a playmaker. This guy is constantly playing the passing lanes, getting steals, which is why he averaged 2.1 steals per game. And not only that, y'all, but he's very good in transition in terms of getting chased down blocks, man. He has a very high basketball IQ, and he knows how to time his leaps. That's why he was able to get so many chase down blocks. So I just love him as a defender, again, in terms of his on-ball defense, being able to lock you up one-on-one, which not too many players can do, but then make plays, y'all, get blocks, get steals, help his team out, run in transition to get some easy baskets. So you really love to see that. His next strength is that he's a good rebounder. He averaged 5.6 rebounds per game, which was very impressive. And when you have a guard that's a good rebounder, it can really be an advantage to your team, because now your opponent has to box out everyone. Sometimes you go up against those teams and you know that their guards aren't good rebounders, so you don't even have to worry about boxing them out. But with VJ Edgecombe, you better box him out, because if you don't, man, he's going to grab that rebound over y'all. And not only is he a good rebounder, but he's a willing rebounder. And I think that's what you really have to appreciate about him, because he is an undersized guard. Again, he's only 6'4", and when he's going to get these rebounds, he's going to get guys that are like 6, 7, 8 inches taller than him, and he's still boxing them out, doing the dirty work, and getting those rebounds, y'all. Something that a lot of guards don't do. I know a ton of guards, they don't feel like they have to rebound. They feel like that's only for the power forwards and centers to do. But VJ Edgecombe is a guy that says, well, hey, I can rebound, so let me get down there, do my part, help out the big players on my team, and that's just good, y'all. Again, when you have a guard that is willing to go down there, box out these guys, and get rebounds, you just have to really appreciate that. His next strength, y'all, is his spot-up shooting, man. He is a really good spot-up shooter. If he's open, he's going to make it. I love him on the catch-and-shoot opportunities. Now, we're going to get into his shooting a little bit later, but, y'all, in terms of his catch-and-shoot shooting, his spot-up shooting, you really love to see that, man. He's a guy that's going to make make most of those threes. He's not going to miss too many of those opportunities. His mechanics, they're fine. He doesn't have the best mechanics, but they're good enough to help him be a really good spot-up shooter / catch and shoot shooter. So you love to see that. His next strength, y'all, is his free throw shooting. And, for a guard, he's a solid free throw shooter. He's not like Steph Curry. Steph Curry is like a 93% free throw shooter. But at 78.2%, you'll definitely take that. I think for a guard, y'all, you really want to be in that 75 to 80% range. If you're below that, it's not the best. So if you're anywhere, again, from 75 to 80% as a guard, that's good. You can trust VJ Edgecombe to go to the free throw line and make his free throws. Not like anybody's going to be doing hack of VJ Edgecombe. No, nothing like that's going to happen, y'all. He's a guy you can trust to go to the free throw line and make his free throws. His next strength is his playmaking upside. Now, he only averaged 3.2 assists per game, but I think, y'all, he's a guy that on the next level can be a secondary ball handler. I never think he's going to be like a primary initiator of the offense, but as a secondary ball handler, I definitely think he can run the offense. He can initiate it. He can find his open teammates. And I think towards the end of his collegiate season at Baylor, y'all, he really improved his vision, man, because I felt like early on he was missing guys that were wide open, but as the season progressed, man, he got better at that. He was really starting to see things progress on the court. So, again, I think his playmaking upside is something that's still untapped. And hopefully he goes to a team that can get that playmaking side out of his game. And, y'all, I think his final strength is that he is ultra competitive, man. This guy is one of the most competitive players I've seen in a very long time. I mean, even, y'all, last year during the FIBA World Cup games, man, VJ Edgecombe was out there playing like it was the NBA Finals. I mean, this guy's just super competitive. He hates to lose. He's willing to do whatever it takes to win. And this past season at Baylor was very challenging for him, right? We know Baylor, y'all, under Scott Drew, they have been a perennial powerhouse team. They've been a championship contender basically every single year that he's been there. But this season, it's very challenging, right? They went 20-15, didn't have the best season. But even with that, y'all, VJ Edgecombe, he remained a good teammate. He didn't change his attitude. There were a couple of times that reporters tried to ask him, well, did you make the wrong decision going to Baylor since you are championship contenders? He said, no, I still love it. I love the grind. I love the process. So you just got to love his competitive nature, y'all. He just wants to win. He wants to be a part of a winning culture. And I love that about him. And now let's get to his weaknesses. And I think his first weakness is his pull-up shooting. As I stated earlier, he's a good spot-up shooter. He's a good catch-and-shoot shooter, but he is not a good pull-up shooter, y'all. And the reason for this is he cannot create off the dribble. He's not one of those guys that can really just get you a bucket. Right now, if he's open, he can make the shot. If it's a catch-and-shoot opportunity, he can make the shot. But if he is having to create offense for himself, he really struggles doing that, y'all. And he's going to have to get better at that, because when you look at the best guards in the NBA, they can create off the dribble for themselves. They're really good pull-up shooters, whether it be Damian Lillard, Steph Curry, De'Aaron Fox, those guys like that, they can create for themselves. They're good pull-up shooters. Right now, VJ Edgecombe is not on that level, y'all. He's going to have to improve this. If he can just become a decent pull-up shooter, if he can just become decent creating shots off the dribble for himself, he'll be okay. But right now, he's pretty bad. You look at his next weakness, y'all, his efficiency as a finisher. Now, this really surprised me because, as I stated to begin this video, he is a super athlete, man, one of the most athletic guys in this draft class, but he is not a good finisher around the rim, especially when it comes to finishing his layups, y'all. He only converted 44% of his layups around the rim this past season at Baylor. I was like, wow, I cannot believe it was that low, man. So he just needs better touch on his layups. I mean, it's that simple. He needs better touch on his layups, better touch on his floaters, and yeah, that's really all he needs to improve on. Now, that's easier said than done, because a lot of people think that shooting floaters are easy. I'm telling y'all, shooting floaters can be very difficult to master, but if he can become better at shooting floaters, if he can become better at converting his layups, y'all, I'm telling you, he could probably become a 20-point per game scorer, because really this past season at Baylor, he probably should have averaged about 18, 19 points per game, but he missed so many easy floaters and layups around the rim, and it was like, VJ, we don't understand this because you're super athletic, y'all, but he must improve his touch around the rim. His next weakness is that he has a shaky handle. And as I mentioned earlier when I was talking about his pull-up shooting, right now he's just not able to create a lot of offense for himself because he's not able to get by guys, y'all. He really has to improve his handle. And that's why I said I think he can be a secondary ball handler. I never think VJ Edgecombe will be a primary ball handler because I don't ever think he's going to have, insane ball handling skills. Now, I do think he can improve his ball handling and become, a good ball handler. But I don't think he's ever going to become like an elite ball handler. But if he can become a good ball handler, man, it can really help improve his game in so many ways, because, y'all, once he improves his ball handling, we'll see now he's going to be able to break guys down off the dribble. He's going to be able to get by them. He's going to be able to, create space from them. So when he wants to get to his mid-range or three-point game, he can do that, and they won't be all up on him. It won't be a contested shot, because he'll be a better ball handler, so he'll be able to, get more space between them. But right now, y'all, everything is kind of tough for him in terms of his, his three-point shots, his mid-range shots, him getting to the cup, because, again, defenders are staying attached to him because of his lack of ball handling. So he really has to improve that. And his last weakness is that he is streaky as a three-point shooter. Now, he shot 34% from three, so he's not a bad shooter, and he has solid mechanics. But I think he can become an even better three-point shooter. I think he can shoot 37, 38, or 39% from three in the NBA, y'all. He just has to work on his shot more. It's that simple, because right now, at this stage in his career, he really relies on his athleticism to get by. But at the next level, y'all, although I think he's going to be an elite athlete in the NBA, because he's a guard and an undersized guard at that, he's going to have to become a better shooter, right? So he's going to have to improve his mechanics, He's going to have to get in that gym and really work hard to become a better three-point shooter. And once he does that, I think, y'all, he can become a 20-point per game scorer at the next level. Right now, I think he'll probably be, especially early on, probably in that, 12 to 15-point range. But once he becomes a better three-point shooter, I think he can become a 20-point per game scorer in the NBA because of his athleticism and his explosiveness. So there y'all have it, man. And now it's time for me to get into my prospect grade and my pro comparison with him, and we will get on up out of here. So my pro comparison with VJ Edgecombe is Victor Oladipo. And I think he's very similar to Victor Oladipo because he has the same strengths and weaknesses that Victor Oladipo had when he was coming out of the draft back in 2013. Both guys, incredible athletes, very explosive, great on-ball defenders, really good rebounders, solid but not spectacular shooters, and they really need to improve their handle and their shot creation ability. And we saw, y'all, Victor Oladipo, when he first came into the league, what was he? He was very athletic. He was a good rebounder. He was a good defender. But he wasn't a good shot creator. But then when he got to the Pacers in 2017, man, he totally changed his game. He became a really good shot creator. He was able to take guys off the dribble. He improved his three-point shooter, and that's how he became, y'all, a 22, 23-point per game scorer. So I look at VJ Edgecombe, I'm like, he has similar strengths, similar weaknesses. If he's able to work on his weaknesses, I think he become Victor Oladipo, become a two-way star in the NBA. And then, y'all, my prospect grade for him, I gave him a grade of 90. He's a very good prospect, y'all. I expect VJ Edgecombe to, at the very least, be a very good player for a long time. But if he can improve his handle and his shooting, y'all, he can become truly one of the elite two-way players in our game. So there you have it, man. This is my 2025 NBA Draft Scouting Report for Baylor Guard VJ Edgecombe. Remember, y'all, that's a good message of what? Make sure you get your daily dose. Y'all know I'm an enemy. I love y'all. God bless. Peace.